4 sales and 4 listings taken in 90 days. Zander will explain how he did it next. I'm here with super agent, killer team member, great guy, my friend Zander Meisner. And Zander, you are taking the market by storm since we started working together just 90 days ago. 4 sales, which is more than most agents do in a year, and you took 4 listings, which to me is super, super impressive. So I'm going to stop talking. Why don't you explain to everyone how you're kicking out these results and staying consistent?
So something that I love to do, and this is why I got into real estate in the first place, is getting to know the client, enjoying the process with them. When you go to see a house, get to know them a little bit about their family, about their interests, why they're moving. That motivation of the LP mama is, to me, one of the most important parts. That will allow them to feel comfortable with you and to disclose things like, I have a home to sell, which is why I get in the door for a listing appointment and have had some success with that. And then the other thing that I think is really important too is when they want the house, try and get them the house. And that sounds so simple, but there are so many people who put in offers that they just do it because they do what their clients say. But to ask the client, do you want this house? Are you ready to be competitive in this marketplace? And to make sure you do everything you can. And I'm very proud of the offer acceptance rate I've had thus far.
So there's a lot to unpack there, and we're going to talk about the listing separately because to me that's even the bigger accomplishment, and 4 sales is pretty tremendous as it is. I'm hearing building rapport, asking the right questions, finding out motivation, and having that tough conversation when it's time to, okay, you want this house, you're telling me you want this house, here's what to do to get it. So do you use any sort of like language around that? How do you approach those conversations? Because in my view, a lot of agents get scared to ask the tough questions, and then as a result, their clients don't get the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Providing as much knowledge as possible, showing them comparative market analysis as much as possible, and maybe providing more than one to let them know this is what is standard in this marketplace right now, and to let them know, hey, there is an opportunity here to potentially put an escalation in there to say, hey, are you willing to go this high if absolutely necessary, still protecting you from overspending? And to say, hey, are you willing to do this, this, and this? Because that could get you into the house, to then going back to motivation, allowing you to upgrade, to allowing you to find your first home, to allow you to get that backyard you've always wanted for your dog. I find to be very effective in that process.
So what I love about this is stuff that when you bring people back to their motivation, it gets them excited. Because housing and buying and selling, it's really stressful. And the reason they do it is because they had a need at the beginning. It's usually like a life change or something that drives them. When you remind people of that, they kind of forget how many homes they looked at, or I'm in this multiple offer situation again, and they focus on what's most important. So that's a really great way to recenter people. Let's talk about the listing side, because taking 4 listings, I know agents that don't take 4 listings their first 4 years in the business, let alone in 90 days. So what's your approach been there? What I heard you say is you're asking for the appointment, but I know it's more than that. So why don't you explain?
Well, part of that conversation in the buyer process is to hear about their motivation. They are looking to sell their house and to purchase a new one. And after that initial conversation takes place, they see houses either they're interested in, will put an offer in, or whatever. Then to say, hey, just so you know, I would love to provide a valuation for your property. And how I feel deep down about the Tom Toole Sales Group is we have some amazing opportunities to market your home better than most. I would love to chat with you about that. Do you have any time next week? And it starts off with an initial conversation about how much their property is worth, and ends up being wowed with, oh my gosh, my house could potentially be on the market for a few days before I net this money that I could then afford the new house. It gets them excited about everything,
Yep.
and then we have that great meeting in their home.
So, I mean, you make this sound easy. I know it's not easy. You've got an acting background, so I've heard you on the phone, and like you're very scripted, and it doesn't sound scripted. So how did you go about making that switch? Because a lot of agents, they feel like that's going to sound like a script. They're going to know I'm going through that, and it comes off the exact opposite when you use these questions that everyone should be asking.
And I think the answer is this: the word script, to me, and this may not mean that to everyone else, to me means you need to ask about motivation. You don't necessarily need to use the word motivation if that's not comfortable for you. So to say, okay, you want to know why? Well, what feels comfortable to you to get that information? Well, sometimes it's, so what's happening? What are you looking to, what are you hoping to accomplish in this new house? What does the new house have that your old home doesn't? Can get the same information. Didn't sound great when I said it just then, but you're still getting the answer to motivation. So to me, yes, it's scripted, but at the same time, sometimes they don't want to hear words like motivation. So you want to know the driver of the new purchase. And so for me, that allows me to feel natural in my conversation with them, to hear them and respond accordingly. But you're getting still the script and the questions answered that you want.
Well, and that's, to me, that's internalizing the script.
Yeah.
And you should be able to pivot and make it your own a little bit once you get it down. A lot of people stick to the script because they don't have it memorized, they don't understand. What I'm hearing is you've got the questions down, and now you're just going about finding out that information at all costs because it allows you to better serve the client. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, these are tremendous, tremendous results, man. And I can tell you the whole team is grateful to have you working with us here. I bet there's somebody watching that maybe is newer to the business, is not getting the results they want. So what advice do you have for that person that is looking to do what you've already been able to accomplish in 90 days?
Well, first off, I appreciate you saying that. I still feel I'm not qualified to provide advice given how new I am, but my background is not just in acting, but I've also taught, and I've also been in advertising, and I've also worked in restaurants, and all of that helps me. Everyone has something they've had in their past that can facilitate a career in real estate. And it's what is best for you. I have colleagues here that are just fantastic analyzers, number crunchers, and that also serves you really well. Mm-hmm. Not my forte, I'm getting better at it, but if that is what you're great at, it's still great opportunities for you to do that. You don't have to have a background in acting. It's what serves you, you can use to your benefit in this career.
I love that you mentioned that there, because there's a lot of ways to get successful. But you're also focused on, hey, I know what I'm good at. I got to figure out what I'm not good at and can get better. And that's the sign of someone that's going to have a ton of success. You've got some big goals next year, so there's no doubt you're going to hit them. Great stuff, man. Really, really helpful. If you want to get in touch with Zander, we got all his information up here on the bottom of the video. Otherwise, we'll keep the information coming here on Agent Hacks.